like the pressure gets to be too much. I take time out and pray. And ask that you be my crutch. Lord, I am not perfect by a long shot. I confess to you daily. But I work hard every day. And I hope that you hear me. In my heart, I mean well. But if you'll help me to grow, then what I have in my heart begin to show. And when I get going, I'm not looking back for nothing. Because I will know where I'm headed. I'm so tired of myself. I don't deserve what you've given me, but you never took it from me. Because I am grateful, and I use it. If what you want from me is to bring your children to you, my regret is only having one life to do it. Step it to you.
That is the PW Hustle prayer. Rejoice, hustleites. You can't hold the PW Hustle down. That's why we created PW Hustle Channel 2. YouTube can't hold us down. Copyright suck my dick. You can't hold the rebirth of the PW Hustle down. We're going to bring the subscribers over here. Rejoice, hustleites. The PW Hustle time is now. The perspective time is now. I'm the illustrious professor, the king of the hoopla, Mr. Wonderful, and the Messiah of the PW Hustle. Amen. And welcome back to the Professor's Perspective, the re-debut on the PW Hustle Channel 2, episode number 12, here on the YouTube channel. I am the illustrious Professor, and welcome to another edition of the Professor's Perspective here. You know what? It's been a while since I've done a perspective, but you know what? You already heard the rumors. The rumors are true. We had some issues on PW Hustle Channel 1, but we're not giving up on that channel yet, because later on, after the perspective is over, I'm going to talk to you hustleites about a new show I'm probably going to experiment on, but I will give you the details a little bit later about that. So, like I said, this is the perspective, and you always know that when you hear the perspective, you hear the truth. It's not the truth that you like, but it's the truth that you need to hear. So, for this edition of the PW Hustle's Professor's Perspective, episode number 12, I got to start with what I'm famous for, I guess, here on the perspective. You know, I have to always talk about the UFC thing. And you know where I'm going with this, right, hustleites? But first and foremost, let me congratulate Brock Lesnar. You know, UFC 200. Let me congratulate Brock Lesnar for making the professor respect him even more. Not respect him a little bit more than I already did. Because if you've been living under a rock, you already know that Brock Lesnar is slated to fight at UFC 200 against some guy named Mark Hunt. But I'm not going into that right now. So I just want to say, you know, it's a funny thing. Because the professor's perspective is famous or infamous for clowning on somebody else. So with me mentioning how much I respect Brock Lesnar for what he's doing at UFC 200, I have to talk about the other guy I've been disrespecting on the professor's perspective. I don't know how many episodes have I done. I've probably done about 3, maybe 4 episodes about him myself. But PMS Bitch Boy, aka CM Punk, aka Phyllis Brooks. My goodness, how low can you go, Phyllis? I mean, Brock Lesnar beat you to the punch. Brock Lesnar is fighting and main eventing at UFC 200. And your ass is still on the sideline. 2 years and going nowhere. Oh, I've heard the rumors about you fighting at UFC 202. Finally, against Mickey Gall. But I'm going to get to that in a second. But here's one of those things I want to say about why I respect Brock Lesnar even more. And why I'm almost disrespecting Phyllis Brooks even more than ever. If you didn't listen to the Heyman Hustle interview that Paul Heyman did with Brock Lesnar, please go check that out. Just Google it, because Paul Heyman gets in depth with Brock Lesnar. He interviews Brock Lesnar and talks about interviews Brock Lesnar about how this all came about, how his feelings about going back to UFC and going back into the octagon. But one thing that I wanted to touch base on with the Hustleites is one statement that was made that I didn't even know, and I didn't know this really happened. But Brock Lesnar, during his first tour of duty, as you could say, going through the octagon and becoming a UFC heavyweight champion, was already suffering from diverticulitis. So some of the matches that he already had, beating Randy Couture for the title, I'm not too sure about the history about that, but I'm just saying, beating Randy Couture and all the other people he had those bouts with before he started losing to Cain Velasquez and Overeem, he was already suffering with diverticulitis. You hear that, Phyllis? You hear it? He was already fucked up. His stomach was already fucked up. Look how much more respect that us wrestling fans will have for Brock Lesnar knowing that type of information. How much more respect we have for a man going into the octagon with a sickness like that. I was not wishing for him to die because of diverticulitis, but I'm just showing you, Phyllis, that this is what you needed to do for the past 2 years plus. You're using all these excuses like bad training sessions, injuries during your training sessions, and basically stalling that ever-elusive ass-whipping from Mickey Gall. Brock Lesnar went into the octagon because he had the passion for competition. He had the passion to being the best at what he wanted to be. He kind of fucked up with their NFL stint, but you can tell that Brock Lesnar has a passion for competition in any shape or form. And UFC is the perfect beast for him, no pun intended. He's a special attraction for the WWE. No, that's not a lie there. But right now, with the break that he has, really, with no storylines for WWE, this is a perfect marriage for Vince McMahon and Dana White. Dana White can rent Brock Lesnar for a fight or two here, and hopefully, and this is what Vince McMahon is hoping for, in the professor's opinion, that if Brock Lesnar can have a win here and there, and maybe an impressive win, doesn't have to be like a 30-second knockout, but an impressive showing, then you know what? His stock is going to rise for SummerSlam. His stock is going to rise for WrestleMania next year. He's going to attract more money, and that's what Brock Lesnar is. He is a businessman, but that's why I respect him more and more. He wants to get in that octagon. He wants to have that competition, and win, lose, or draw, wrestling fans will respect Brock Lesnar. There might be some jealousy and envy with all that money that he's going to get, but you cannot deny that he's going to go in there and face a guy named Mark Hunt. Now, wrestling fans are calling this a squash match, and some UFC fans are saying, now, hold on a second, wrestling fans. You don't know this guy, Mark Hunt. This guy is a killer a little bit here and there, so he's going to give Brock Lesnar a run for his money. In my humble opinion, I don't care what happens. It's a win in itself that Brock Lesnar is going into the octagon. It's a win in itself that he's going to be main eventing, because he did something far more important to me than what PMS bitch boy Phyllis Brooks hasn't done. He hasn't competed. That's what it is. PMS Bitch Boy, you are an embarrassment. You are a joke. You know, it's a joke that you're affiliating yourself with the Gracies, man. I think the Gracies don't even want to be affiliated with you because you're taking their name in vain with, you know, not doing well at their training schools or not doing well in their training sessions. They don't want to be involved with you. You should hire some other people to just have these training sessions with. But you know what? A lot of people are reporting that CM Punk, PMS Bitch Boy, Phyllis Brooks is going to be fighting at UFC 202. I haven't seen anything official about that. You know, a lot of wrestling websites have been saying that that's the plan all along, that he's going to have his fight to coincide with the NXT TakeOver in Brooklyn. That's a hell of a double feature right there. You get the NXT TakeOver Brooklyn showing for 2 hours, and then if you could get home quick enough, you can see CM Punk get his ass whipped by Mickey Gall, you know, at UFC 202 by midnight or 1 a.m. But I hate to tell you this, and you heard it here first, exclusively here on the PW Hustle channel 2. I don't think this fight's gonna happen. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm gonna say it. I don't think this fight's gonna happen because you know what? I will believe it when I see it. When I see PMS Bitch Boy and Mickey Gall together at the weigh-in, you know, doing all this stuff, then I'll know it's official. But right now, it's all speculation. Right now, I'm putting my money on, like, maybe 3 weeks before the fight supposed to happen, that there's going to be some kind of mysterious injury during the training session again for Mr. Bitch Boy. It could be a quad, could be an abdominal strain. But whatever the case may be, there's going to be some kind of injury that's going to stall this fight at least until the end of the year, or maybe until Super Bowl weekend, or supposedly. You know, wake up and smell the reality, hustleites. PMS Bitch Boy does not want to fight. If he wanted to fight, he would have fought already. But you know what? He's a damn hypocrite. He's a damn hypocrite because every advantage that has been given to him, I've said this from Jump Street. Every advantage that's been given to him, that's been handed down to him on a silver platter. This is what he was championing against while in the WWE. He's a hypocrite. And you know what? As days go by, as weeks go by, as the years go by, you know, the respect is waning down and down and down. And I'm trying to respect CM Punk, PMS Bitch Boy, Phyllis Brooks for his wrestling accomplishments. I'm trying to keep that respect level somewhere. But you know what? The one underlying thing about not having that respect is that during these 2.5 years, why not making it? He didn't have to fight. Why not make one of those kind of promo appearances for Ring of Honor? Why not be sitting front row at the Tokyo Dome during a Wrestle Kingdom New Japan show? Why not do something for these like fucking indie promotions in Chicago? He hasn't done anything. Have you heard anything? Because I've never heard anything in these 2.5 years. The only thing I've ever heard from him wrestling related was the Colt Cabana podcast. Other than that, he's been quiet, or he's been, trolled on Twitter. But I wouldn't know that because, PMS Bitch Boy blocked me on Twitter. But you already know that story. But I'm just saying, every day that passes by, he hasn't done anything wrestling related for me to keep respecting this guy. And you know what? I hope that he gets, into ring shape or octagon shape, suffice it to say, for UFC 202. I hope that match takes place. But you know what? It's not. I don't think so. The man is scared to take an ass whipping. I don't know why. Just take the ass whipping. Take the L, Phyllis. And then move on to the next one. And just get back into that training session. Because that's, like I said, if you did that from jump, I would have respected you in the UFC game. But you know what? You got outshined by Brock Lesnar. Take lessons from Brock. This is what you're supposed to do. You announce you want to fight, you're going to fight. He's training right now, let him do it. That's all that matters to me. Brock Lesnar, you got my respect. Win, lose, or draw. Phyllis, we're, wait and see now. Right, Hustleites? It's a wait and see game. You can say that it's going to happen at UFC 202, but like I said, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, you know what? I had to rant and rave when I heard that news. So, that's a good thing. You got to let it out. It's kind of like I said, it's a rebirth here on the PW Hustle channel too. So the professor is reborn again. And speaking about being reborn, now I don't want to talk about Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. I think I already said about that on the PW Hustle podcast show on YouTube. If you haven't seen that show, Hustleites, take a look. Take a look at the last episode. It's a great episode, and we get in depth about that Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy situation. But I do want to talk about something TNA related. I want to talk about another vignette that TNA, tried to do. And you know what? For all intents and purposes, on the positive, I actually respect them for doing this vignette. They went out the box, and it was a good effort to do. And I'm talking about that weigh-in vignette between EC3 and the Miracle, Mike Bennett. I mean, if we look at it in depth, at all the positives, it is one of those marquee matchups on the pay-per-view for Slammiversary this coming Sunday, June 12th. So it's all intents and purposes that these two people had to do a weigh-in. That's fine. I mean, we can say right now in the world of wrestling that contract signings and stare downs in the ring has run its course and it's become so predictable that a confrontation is bound to happen. But like I said, that's a positive. They tried something a little bit different that you haven't seen on WWE, that you haven't seen on Lucha Underground or any other promotion, because I really don't know a lot of promotions that does weigh-ins. I mean, other than New Japan doing press conferences to make it like a legit sport, I don't see them doing weigh-ins. So this was a good attempt at TNA to do something else. But the professor, Hustleites, you already know where I'm going. I've been accused by some of the Hustleites via Twitter that I nitpick, I cherry pick, but I do it out of love. It is always out of love. You have to always nitpick at a lot of things. That doesn't mean that I hate it so, erroneously. It's just that there were certain things that, they could have done to make it a little bit better, or certain things that just doesn't make sense. So when I nitpick, it's always out of love. And hopefully Dixie Carter and Billy Corgan hears this, so this way they can, avoid making the same mistake twice. That's all. So when I look at this weigh-in vignette, the one thing that I will say that I had a problem with, not that that they were trying to make it like a legit sport. That's not even my critique. I actually like the fact that they wanted to do that. I like that realism first and foremost. And that's one of the positives about this vignette. My only critique about this, I have about three critiques. Very small, very minute, but if you look at it again, and I implore you, Hustleites, look at the weigh-in vignette after you hear these critiques, and then come back at me with the comments on the bottom. And by the way, like the page, subscribe to the PW Hustle Channel 2 page to get more of the professor's perspective, to get more of 8-Track's extended rants, to get more of the PW Hustle podcast on YouTube. But anyway, my first critique about this vignette was, where was the hype for it? Where was the advertisement for it on Impact Wrestling on TV? Absolutely zero. I didn't even know this. When they did this, it was more like a matter of fact kind of attitude. It was like Josh Matthews said, "Oh, by the way, earlier today they did a weigh-in between EC3 and the Miracle Mike Bennett." This is a very important vignette to kind of like promote. This is a very important vignette to enhance the storyline between EC3 and the Miracle Mike Bennett. And when you treat it as a matter of fact, then you treat your match as a matter of fact. Where's the investment? Because there's a lot of holes in this EC3 Miracle Mike Bennett kind of thing. But I don't want to go into that. I'm only focusing on the critiques of the weigh-in vignette. And if you don't promote the vignette properly, then I shouldn't even care about it. I should just change the channel. Where was the promotion for this? This is a high-profile thing. I mean, if you promote it on Twitter, if you promote it on Facebook, you will only get 1/4 of your audience to know that that's going to happen on Impact Wrestling Television. You need to promote that the week before on Pop TV. You need to promote that as on a commercial during Pop TV's, Schitt's Creek run. Whatever. Give it some meaning. If you want a legit sport, if you want a legit investment from your Impact Wrestling fans, promote it better. Okay? Just promote it better. They do this to themselves sometimes, Hustleites, and I have to always say that. And the next kind of thing I want to critique about the weigh-in is actually the participants in the weigh-in. Because if you want to make it technically very, very legit and very, very real, that real big fight feel, you had actually the wrong two people to do it. No knocking the EC3 Mike Bennett rivalry. It is a high-profile rivalry. But if you're going to do a weigh-in, the weigh-in really needs to be Drew Galloway and Lashley. Big fight feel. Big fight atmosphere. The World Heavyweight title. A big stare down. Galloway and Lashley looking eye to eye, face to face. The intensity with both of them. That's who needed to do the weigh-in vignettes for. It would have been way better with them two. But like I said, I understand why they did it with EC3 and Mike Bennett. Again, like I said, it's still a high-profile match, and I'm not dumbing down that. But if you want that big fight feel moment, that intense moment, you got the wrong two. In my personal opinion, Hustleites, I know you agree with me, even if you're a TNA soldier like A-Track is. The wrong two people did the weigh-in vignette. Plain and simple. It was the wrong two. It should have been Lashley and Drew Galloway. It would have made their match even bigger. EC3 and Mike Bennett have done enough on Impact Wrestling Television itself to hype their match. And you could say even Galloway and Lashley have hyped their match up even more themselves. But again, if you're going to do a weigh-in, you want that legit sport feel, big money match sport feeling, you got to agree with me. The wrong two is doing it. And the third little minute critique is actually at the end. And Hustleites, you need to go back and rewind, and you'll understand how funny and ridiculous this is. Now, they're doing the eye-to-eye, face-to-face stare-down for the photographers and all that stuff to promote. And then, Mike Bennett does his little slap on EC3, and EC3 mushes him back. But here's the funny part. If anybody has ever seen the Chappelle Show, and they did a comedy spot called Friday Night Sissy Fights. Billy Ray Valentine actually got me looking at the tape again once he said this. But he didn't call it the Friday Night Sissy Fights. I'm calling it that. If you saw it back, if you see it again, put it in slow motion. It's almost like you hear them going, slapping themselves like this. Get away from me, get away from me. It was so ridiculous. It kind of nullified the big fight feel when they did the Friday Night Sissy Fights Chappelle Show vignette. I know, I'm nitpicking, I'm cherry picking, I'm just hating to be a hater. No, I'm not. Like I said, I'm critiquing out of love. If you're gonna do a confrontation like that, if you're gonna do a spot like that where you know there's gonna be an altercation, get them fists flying or get the security people a little bit faster and on time more to do something like that. Do some, hard pushes and shoves. Not that Friday night sissy fight girly shit like they were doing for about a, good 2 seconds. 2 seconds is a lifetime once you rewind and slow it up. Rewind and slow it up. Rewind and slow it up again. But of course, again, there's still a lot more positives than there are negatives with that vignette. I just picked out a couple of small, minute things that they could change for the next time. When Bound for Glory comes, if they do a weigh-in segment, do it for your World Heavyweight Champion. And if you're going to do altercations, make sure the fists are flying and not the pansy shoving back and forth. It really isn't worth it. If you're not going to do it right, then don't do it at all. That's the way the professor will say it. And you know what? In closing, I'm just going to try to keep it a quick professor's perspective here on the PW Hustle Channel 2 on YouTube. I want to talk about one thing that happened at NXT TAKEOVER. Kind of pissed me off a little bit. Now, it wasn't even a match. No, it wasn't even a match. I'm not critiquing no match. If anything, I saw 2 matches of the year. I saw a tag team match of the year in the Revival and American Alpha. That shit was awesome. And I saw another match of the year candidate for Nakamura. This is his 3rd match of the year already. I think Nakamura is the wrestler of the year in my opinion. But he already had another high-profile match of the year with Austin Aries. It didn't eclipse the other 2 that he's already had. But I'm just saying that it just makes Nakamura's stock rise and rise more with these high-profile matches that he has on TV. Wrestle Kingdom 10, NXT Dallas, and NXT The End. He's had 3 high-profile matches, and he has delivered all of them. But speaking about Nakamura, I want to speak about the NXT Full Sail fans. You almost ruined that match for me. Because I had to mute it. I mean, let's just say this. You fans at Full Sail are reaching. Why in the blue hell are you humming Nakamura's theme song? That shit is plain disrespect. Plain and simple. You're treating Nakamura like a fucking sideshow freak when you're singing or humming his theme song during his match. This man is the Michael Jackson of New Japan. This man, has ruled on the other side of the world. And he comes over here to America. And you fucking people from Florida are humming his theme song? Nobody on the Japan side was humming the theme song to his New Japan theme. So why the hell do you think it's funny or you think it's respectful to hum his theme song? Shit, that is stupid. The professor's going to say it. I'm shooting here. That is stupid. It is disrespectful and you're reaching. You know what? Some fans, fans have hit home runs with certain things. I'll give it to fans, when they hum the theme song to Fandango. That shit is funny, and I like it. And Fandango, got a kick out of that too. And, I think the fans could get a kick out of that. People could say that the fans were reaching there. They want to get involved in the product. Fine, so be it. But at least for Fandango, it works for them. And if you're an indie ride or die for Sami Zayn, and you know him from El Generico days, the Ole Ole chants have stuck with him for so many years. So it's almost like a badge of honor, a badge of courage, a badge of respect for Sami Zayn. So if I hear Ole Ole, I'm not pissed off hearing it. That's what he is. That's almost his trademark. I'm expecting that. But Nakamura humming his theme song? Really? These Full Sail fans, are reaching. Sami Zayn goes to the main roster and you do Jose, Jose, Jose. It's funny, but you know what? It's not original. You know what? And for Nakamura, just chant his name. Chant King of Strong Style. Chant Kinshasa when the kick happens. But you know what? This is my PSA, my public service announcement. Don't you ever, and the professor means ever, hum his theme song ever again. And if I hear that in NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, you know that the professor will go on Twitter to call out a lot of fans. I'm calling out any fans. And if you've been to an NXT show and you've heard people singing Nakamura's theme song, think about this. That's all I want you hustleites to really register when I say this. Does Nakamura deserve to be treated like a carnival sideshow freak? No. He should be treated like a guy who's been, ruling New Japan all those years and coming over here. You're devaluing his stock every time you're humming his theme song, in my personal opinion. So if he goes to the main roster and loses to John Cena, like you all will be pissing and moaning about, just remember what the professor said. You started it. You devalued him. I didn't. WWE didn't. They just were noticing it with the fucking humming of the theme song. Just chant his name. That's the respect he deserves. Not to treat him like a fucking sideshow act. Because I'm tired of hearing that. I had to mute it when I was watching that match. Again, say Nakamura. Say King of Strong Style. Say Kinshasa. React to his movesets, the knees, the strong style punches, or whatever you want. But don't ever fucking hum that theme song. Because you're just going to you're going to devalue him even more that he will be a fucking under mid-card jobber to everybody on the main roster. He'll job to Seth Rollins, he'll job to Roman Reigns, he'll job to John Cena. And you think, excuse me, and then you'll be pissed off at Vince McMahon and all that stuff. But again, I'm saying this right now. And this is the only place you're going to hear it. The professor's already said it. You, the IWC, YWC, are devaluing Nakamura. For the ones who are humming it, you're the ones that are doing it. Because you're giving fuel to the fire and ammunition to devalue Nakamura like that. You might think it's respect. Hell no. It's not respect. That man does not deserve to be hummed. That theme song does not even deserve to be hummed. Hell no. Not during a match. Not ever. Chant his name. That's what he deserves. Alright? So I'm going to end the professor's perspective. Class is just about over. But I just want to thank all the hustleites for coming over to the PW Hustle Channel 2 or PW Hustle 2 here on YouTube. Hopefully just tell the other hustleites who haven't subscribed yet to please subscribe to this page, so you will see the long, extended PW Hustle podcast on the YouTube shows. You see the extended Professor's Perspectives here on the Channel 2. And of course, like I said, you'll hear extended rants and raves from our very own A-Track Brown. But before I go, I'm not leaving PW Hustle Channel 1 just yet. So if you leave your comments on the bottom about what I've said about the professor's perspective here, as I always say, hit the like button, hit the dislike button, but most importantly, hit that subscribe button. Want to talk about anything here, please do. I will always comment back. I'm always as interactive. But speaking of interactive, on PW Hustle Channel 1, I might experiment with a new show called Professor Interactive. So if you're going to comment on this professor's perspective, like I said, I'm experimenting on a new show, Professor's Interactive. Hashtag PROF Interactive and ask me anything, hustleites. No subject, any subject on any era in wrestling. We could talk about the Rock and Wrestling era. We could talk about the Attitude era. We could talk about Ruthless Aggression era. Or we could talk about that new era bullshit. We could talk about the NWA. We can talk about WCW. We can talk about Mid-South. Anything. You can ask me, why do I like John Cena so much? And I'll give you detailed explanation why. Or you could ask me why I like Roman Reigns. But you know what? The most interesting questions, if you use the hashtag PROF Interactive, if you go to PW Hustle Channel 1, I will answer them on the new experimental Professor Interactive show, as my way of giving back to the Hustleites and being as interactive as I can be. I try to be interactive as I comment on all the Hustleites here, but you know what? I want to do a show dedicated to the Hustleites, as interactive as I can be. So again, if you're going to comment on this show, if you want to, contribute to that experimental new show, I don't know if I'm going to do it yet. Hashtag PROF Interactive, all right? And before I go, follow me on Twitter at PROFPWHustle, aka Professor PW Hustle. Follow my man, the Pharaoh Fancy, aka 8-Track Brown at Pharaoh Fancy. And also follow Billy Ray Valentine at OB1 You Know Me. And also follow those Big Slam Nation brothers. Big Ray at Big Ray Show. Bill Scholar, the king of old school, at You Got the Show. OKFabe at OKFabe. And Fame Black at Fame Black. And once again, I am the illustrious professor, and this has been The Professor's Perspective, episode number 12. Thank you for tuning in on the PW Hustle Channel 2. And I'll see you next time. And hopefully, like I said, if you leave some comments for PROF Interactive, go to PW Hustle Channel 1, and you will see the debut show of Professor Interactive. Thank you, and have a great weekend.